What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Za King's Music Connection. Today I got Adrian Conner with me talking about a brand new album that just came out today, actually, June 19th, called Hiss Kiss Hiss. She's just amazing, like just a ball of energy when she performs live. It's you got to see it in person. Whether she's playing with her solo stuff or with the greatest AC/DC cover band I've ever seen, Hell's Bells, it's just something to see. Let's get right to it.
Did I tell you that I really don't give a care? Demons all come and yell at me if you dare. Will, it's your way. I cannot wait. I never, ever, ever, ever see your face.
Okay. So Hiss Kiss Hiss was a last minute. I've been working on the songs throughout 2019 and 2018. And so I had 5 new songs and recordings, and when the virus hit, I decided to put the music out, and I was like, what else am I gonna do? I can't play gigs. So then the balance was, I got to crowdfund to afford to put this album out, because you can't just put out an album and not put some money into promoting it. Otherwise it just goes away. So I, really had to weigh out how is it right for me to do this crowdfund while there is a pandemic going on. And so I realized that some of the lyrics in the song Butterfly very healing, and they were speaking to me in terms of healing my own feelings that I was processing during that time and still processing. And I thought, music is healing, and I've got to come out with this music, and I'm going to crowdfund this, and I'm going to do this with respect and consciousness. So I reached my goal. I reached 103% of my goal. I have, I think, 5 days left in my pre-order as of today, June 13th. Yeah. So, and it's more songs of protest, love, and heartbreak. That's the kind of music I write. It's a lot of feeling around in the dark, and so that's what I do. I feel around in the dark. If I can find some consultants to consult with for a reasonable price that can kind of guide me, I do that, or I just straight up ask questions to other people that run their own labels. Shout out to Sostex Records. And Jeff Smith, he has always answered my questions when I have asked him, hey, what can I do here? What am I doing wrong? He's always helped me. Shout out to Louis Carr, who manages Jackie Vincent. He also gave me some great advice for this runaround, for this release. But it's a lot of feeling around in the dark, and a lot of dealing with feelings of, failure, and then trying to overcome your own judgment of yourself. That's what it's like to do the label. I started playing guitar at 13, and I didn't like it at first. I was like, oh, this hurts. Also, I didn't really listen to a lot of guitar music. I was very sheltered music-wise. My parents listened to classical music. My mom was the hippest, so she did turn me on to ABBA. And so largely I was getting music from what my sister listened to, and then whatever was playing on 80s Top 40. And fortunately that was very diverse at the time. But again, how diverse can you be in 80s Top 40? I don't know. So I guess maybe diverse isn't quite the right word. But yeah, so a lot of music I listened to didn't have guitar in it, and I always sang, but along the songs. I didn't decide to sing for my own band until about 1998, and that's when I started writing my own songs and singing, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey I'm always working on my vocals, I'm always working on my playing, I'm always striving to get better. It's art, and so performing for me is my art as well, and so there's a lot that goes into singing and performing live.
You hurt you. I'm not scared of broken wings.
A miracle. It was wonderful. Hell's Bells is what made me able to quit my job at UPS. I started out on rhythm guitar. So I began playing music for a living in 2001, and music has been my income since 2001, and it's been incredible. I'm so blessed, lucky to get to play music for a living. It's very difficult, and I'll stop there. Let's see. Yeah, it was like the greatest thing ever that happened to me. It's not that it hasn't been scary. I mean, when you play music for a living, it's at UPS, there's job security. You work for a union. You can't, it's very difficult to get fired. When you do music for a living or art for a living, there's no job security. So you really are forced to come to terms with not letting that fear rule your life. And so that's an ongoing spiritual challenge that I'm working with. But I do feel that is becoming, that has been an ally for me. Instead of making it harder for me to live my life in a happy way, it has taught me how to trust, how to have trust. Okay.
Then it is to get up and move. Inside, I kind of enjoy the addiction. I just can't put up with the bitching. I hate being by myself.
Okay, well, Hell's Bells had tryouts in 1999, and I tried out on rhythm guitar, and I didn't make the cut the first time. Was not chosen to be in the band, and so that was very difficult because I continued to work another year at UPS and struggling to do my own original music, struggling to even have any interest from other musicians wanting to play with me. That I don't know if that's something everybody experiences, but it has been very challenging to find people to want to play my original music with me, and I've had people, when I ask them, actually cringe at the idea of playing in my original band. So, it's hard, man. But yeah, so Hell's Bells. I saw, I watched that band, right place, right time, filled a hole, was a huge deal at the time in Seattle, and an incredible band. And it was hard to, see the success of that band and feel, not ask like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I get in this band? But eventually, I got asked again to try out again, and some of the players were very resistant to having me in the band. But some of the other players were really into it, and fortunately they won out. So I got in the band, and, and that's that story. I love swimming. I am a long-distance lap swimmer. I love lap swimming, and I also, if I can't swim, then I jog, which I don't. I do run walks because I really am not into jogging. But I can talk myself into it. And then I try to throw in some yoga in between the swims. That's really important, especially to stay limber as I progress into an older age. And I just really trained myself to get addicted to physical activity. And so for me, if I'm not active, I'm suffering. So I really love to be able to move and swim and go hiking and be in nature. That's very important to me. Well, any show that sells out, that is a thick crowd, is my favorite situation, being a performer. Venue-wise, let's see. I'm kind of drawing a blank here for a minute. Rock in the Rivers is a really fun, amazing gig. I got to play that as my original band and recurring with Hell's Bells, and that really is just so much fun. I think one of my favorite things about playing festivals, is you get to be behind the stage to watch all the other bands. That is my favorite, because I'm really not into crowds, like being in the crowd. If I'm at a show, I want to be right next to the band. I don't want to be way out in the back in the sun. Like, I don't get festival goers. Like, I don't understand what the draw is there. I would much rather pay a high dollar price to be close to the band. Well, if I could get it for, than to be way, in the back. I would rather be in a small club and intimate. I really love Santa Cruz. We used to have badass shows at the, what is that? What's the name of that venue? Also the Knitting Factory in Boise and Spokane. Those are always really fun. Fun crowds.
Everybody lets you down. At least once your friends will make you frown. Sometimes I ain't got no friends. Sometimes I am better off.
Yes. When we went to film the listening video in 2001, we drove out to West Texas, and we went to Terlingua, to the ghost town, and I rented a house for us, and we had kind of a crew. I mean, just, our friends and stuff, and we decided to, we scouted some spots, but then a couple of them went off. A couple of the people that were shooting found some other places and decided, oh, well, let's try and shoot up here. Well, we go up, it's by the ghost town. Well, we go up to, the gravel road and everything, and we start setting up, and we turn on the generator, and, not too long, this truck comes out, just, from way out, all speeding up. What are you doing? Who do you think you're doing? Hey, you got my dogs all angry. What do you think you're doing? You don't belong up here. There's no trespassing. And I felt really scolded. That really upset me. There was no trespassing sign or anything. We didn't know. We just, we're like, we're making art. And yeah, we got, yelled at. And so we, picked up all our stuff and left. And I cried and cried, because I don't like, being scolded. So yeah, that was one of many interesting experiences filming that video. When I do my original band, for a long time I tried to just go straight like I was doing in Hell's Bells. But then we started getting these gigs where we would play for longer sets. And so, my songs are, for the most part, songs. They're not jam songs, So I started having to figure out, okay, where can we have, jam, I call them jam portals. And then I thought, okay, I gotta have some more stuff to play with here. So, I started putting a delay pedal in line. That's a Boss delay pedal. I also recently decided to go, a couple years ago, decided to go play a festival in Spain. I couldn't afford to bring the rest of the band. So I taught myself Ableton, and I learned how to, play with my tracks and that's okay. I don't really enjoy that. I need to try and figure out how to make it a little more interactive. But I'm already singing and playing, so it's very difficult to try and figure out a balance there for that, because my songs are very partsy. It's not just a beat that goes straight the whole way through. So that's a challenge when trying to figure out how can I run samples, how can I run loops, so I'm kind of trying to figure that out still. But mostly, I guess, just a delay pedal at this point. I usually play Marshall. Yeah, and then when I do acoustic, I have a Taylor, they call it a T5. And so that's what I've been doing my live streaming sets with, is the T5. And I use a little thing called an amplifier box for that, so I can get a little bit of gain but still sound acoustic. And that's a really cool amp. It's a pedal, but it's an amp inside, So yeah, I take that with me now almost everywhere. So yeah, that's what I have. It was going. I had one client, but I haven't really had that many clients. I know that if I could pay money to hang out with some of my favorite, songwriters or artists that I like, I would pay money to do it. So I thought, why not? I'm creative and I can make up stuff, and I can help people write songs because I love music. And that is the source, love of music. Do anything with love. Okay, let's see. Woo! So yeah, if you listen to my music, anybody watching this, and you are like, wow, man, she's cool. I got some songs I need to help write. Let's book a session. Let's do it. Wow. I would say to really make sure that you love music, because that is the only thing that is going to carry you through the tough times, is loving music. So just really, if you got it, the love, the music, you can learn how to do anything. So don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. I just started doing it last September. I like it. I haven't done a painting in a while. You'd think with the pandemic that I'd have all this time, but I guess because I started the crowdfund and that's a really time-consuming thing when you start to do those. Yeah, I haven't painted, but I'm excited to get back, finding a time where I feel like I can do it, because it's really relaxing. It's very nice to just do something and try not to have an outcome. It was fun, and I did it with a budget of under, I think I only spent like $500, because what cost me was the wigs, the costumes, and the generator. The generator was the most expensive. But yeah, I really, I wanted to parody the video as close as I could, but I noticed in the original video they have a Jekyll and Hyde theme going on, and like all these sets and people, and part of the art that I make is learning how to, work with what you got, which is very limited money, very limited people. But, Heather Webb really helped me out. Armando, the drummer, was really into, looking like Carmine Appice. So it was just fun. It was really fun to edit Armando's parts. Yeah, so it was great. oh, okay, well, Janelle Monáe, and of course Madonna, and Grimes. I love Grimes. And then, you know, all the 80s people. I mean, you know, it just seemed like in the 80s, the way the radio waves were, you know, you'd have like Quiet Riot, and then you'd have like Michael Jackson, and then you'd have like you know, Madonna, and then you'd have like Fleetwood Mac, and then you'd have like Cyndi Lauper, and then you'd have Talking Heads, and then, you know, then it would go to Prince, and then it would go to Hall & Oates, and then it would go to the Police. I mean, it was like, it was so cool, like how many different things were going on. Remember the Thompson Twins and like how neat sounds they had, and everybody had these like, you know, it was cool. It was cool to have a different kind of sound, and I really loved that about that time. So, but I guess, you know, when you're a kid, you know, there's that certain time where music really does, you know, come into you in a certain way, and so that time, all those artists, you know, were just very influential. The B-52s are a big influence. I've always wanted to have a band with 2 lead female vocalists. What else? What do I got in my records over there? Locally in Austin, I love Patrice Pike and Tamika Jones and Carrie Hudson and Kelly Willis. I could just go on and on. There's so many, so many artists here that are good. It's crazy. It's crazy. Austin is an incredible place for people that perform music. Okay. I'm kind of behind the times in terms of, you know, what is new. A lot of the artists that I listen to aren't really that new, but like Janelle Monáe, Grimes, Lizzo, and on the local level here, again, new, I think, is kind of taking on, new artists is kind of taking on a new meaning, because the way that the music business, there's not really a music business hardly at all, but you know, you get a lot of work under your belt, and then, you know, once new means, you know, more people are hearing about you. So yeah, I would say that Jackie Vinson, who else? Probably let's just go there. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like I'm constantly discovering people. Oh, you know who else is really good? Oh, here in Austin is oh my God. Sweet Spirit. Yeah, they're fucking awesome. The singer in that band is an incredible vocalist, and she's in like 3 other projects because she's such a badass. I don't know if you know who Harmar Superstar is, but she does. He's an incredible vocalist too. They do a band called Heartbones, and then she also does a band called A Giant Dog. Sorry, my cat was freaking out. She freaked me out. Yeah, so I don't know, you know, that man, it's endless with the new artists. Okay.
And I'm so sick of all your problems and all your riches.
Well, I am an 80s kid, and so remember the wrestler that was a big, kind of like bald ball, and he just, you know, he had no hair and he was real fat. I really liked him. He was like kind of a bad guy, so he would probably be my number 1. I even had him as an action figure. And then number 2, Hulk Hogan. And then number 3, I had a poster of Mr. Wonderful on my wall. Really bad taste in men. I always had bad taste in men. That's why I would prefer women. Let's see. And number 4, you know, I always, from that time period, you know, you gotta go with the actor that was in Princess Bride and also a wrestler. It's Andre the Giant. I have a question that maybe you could answer. as I was Googling this, was Mr. T a WWF wrestler? Because I thought Mr. T was 18. Anyway, when I was, Googling this, they put one of these weird websites, or maybe it was just a search, aggregated Mr. T. He's 18! Because otherwise he would be definitely in my top 4.
Mr. T was in fact a wrestler. He actually headlined the very first WrestleMania. His wrestling was bad, but I liked his role as Clubber Lang in the Rocky series. You can't beat that. Anyways, that's Hiss Kiss Hiss, out today. Get your copy. I'm super excited. I'm waiting for mine in the mail. Head over to Adrian Conner's page. Grab a copy yourself. Grab some other cool stuff that she has available on there. And if you're ever fortunate enough to see Hell's Bells, it's amazing. Anyways, thanks a lot, Adrian.
Thank you, Zakane, for including me in the interview. And Hiss Kiss Hiss comes out Juneteenth. So if you don't know what Juneteenth is, make sure you look that up. And stream me.
The number's on a baby. Get your flight free.